Today, I am thrilled to introduce our guest, Susan Guthrie. Susan is chair of the ABA, which is the American Bar Association's section of dispute resolution, and she is a well-known attorney, mediator, and legal technology expert. Today, she's joining us to share some quick, I should say, and practical ways to harness the power of AI in order to enhance your daily work routines. With over 30 years of experience and as a leading voice on online dispute resolution, Susan will demonstrate how easy it is to integrate AI tools into your workday. This saves you time, it can reduce stress, and it boosts productivity. I've known Susan for several years, and I can personally attest to her passion and enthusiasm for all things technology, including AI, and I know you will benefit from her insights. So without further ado, Susan, it's all yours.
Thanks, Liz, and thank you all for having me here. Thank you especially to those of you I can see. I love it when there are faces on the screen. It's so hard to just talk to myself, which is all I can see when I don't see people. So thank you so much for coming. I'm really excited to give you a fast and furious sort of review of 3 ways that you can use ChatGPT and its friends. I've turned into the person who uses the term ChatGPT to basically mean all generative AI functions. It's kind of like we say Kleenex when we mean tissue, and we say Band-Aid when we need bandage, and that sort of thing, I think, and Zoom when we mean virtual conferencing. So I may say ChatGPT, but I really mean all of them. And I'm just going to dive in. I did slides, and you will be able to download them if you want to. Let me just open them up. Just keeps me on track, and I will be moving quickly, but feel free to put any questions in the chat, and I will work really hard to leave some time at the end so that we can answer some of your questions. Let me just, sorry, getting here. There we go. All right. So let's dive in. I just want to ask first, it always helps me to know, and since I can see some of you, or use the chat, give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Thumbs up, how you feel about using generative AI tools like ChatGPT. Do you love it, or do you not so much like it? So you can either hold up your hands. Oh my God, I see some floating, thumbs up over there from Erica. Thank you very much. Because that's how I feel about it. I use it all day, every day. I've got the 5 top ones right here on page 1 of my phone, and I use them for pretty much from the time I get up in the morning until the time I go to sleep. So let's dive in here. Here are the slides. If anybody wants them, I've put some specific prompts and things that you can use. I'm really big on giving people practical, usable information. And so I try to give you things that you can, as Liz said, go back to your office and start using right away. So if you want the slides, you can either go to my website and click on the CU, or just use the QR code here and you'll be able to get them. All right. So when I get a lot of thumbs down, and I didn't see a ton of them here, but I do want to talk about it. There's usually 3 reasons why people are afraid of using AI. And most of the time it's the fear of technology, or technology in general. I get a lot of people who are just tech phobes. There's a lot of people who don't understand how to get the most out of the technology, so they kind of just don't see the point of it. And then there's a lot of misunderstanding around what the technology does. So it was funny, I was scrolling through my Instagram feed just last night, and I saw this video, so I had to share it because it's a professor, a college professor, on the first day of class talking about his feelings about AI, and you can see on the screen what his feelings are. I don't know, can you hear it? You are gone. You use AI. I'm not putting up with it. No AI. And, that really stems from a lot of fear around what it can do and people misusing it. I did want to point out, because Liz shared this with me and I thought they were so great, and I just want to make sure everybody knows about them. You in the CU family have safety rails. The university has put out guiding principles for generative AI, and I have to tell you, I deal, with the American Bar Association. I've sat on task forces to come up with guiding principles and model standards for using generative AI. These are excellent. They are in the materials. I just added them there to make it quick and easy for you to get. So again, if you go to susaneguthrie.com and click on CU, you can download them. But they really give you everything you need to know, the keys to avoiding both misuse and making mistakes with it. Things like these are really tools here only to augment, not replace us as humans. It's not, like the movie, they're not coming to take our lives. Using transparency, make sure you let people know you're using it. Being aware of inclusivity and the bias reduction, data security, privacy, the respect of privacy, using it appropriately. All those guidelines are there. So I'm not going to go through those in detail, but I think when we use AI, especially these generative AI tools, because they're helpful in so many different ways in our lives, we do need to remember that the guardrails are there and we are the ones who implement them. So the bottom line, your number one guardrail is you. Understanding what the rules are around using them, self-regulating and checking, and you already have the perfect checklist from the school. So I highly recommend getting up close and personal with it. In getting to use this technology, the thing that I've also found, I was counting the other day, I think I've done about 65 presentations since ChatGPT was launched on the world in March of 2023. On using generative AI. And one thing I've noticed is many people misunderstand what it is. So I think you need to understand what it is not to understand what it is. And this is because we've never seen anything like this. We've never experienced a technology that works this way because it works like a human. It talks to us like a human. So the one thing I always point out, as cute as this little guy is with his ball, it is not, generative AI is generally just not a Labrador retriever. It is not a go fetch. It is not go get me the ball and bring me back the ball. Everybody knows the famous case of the ChatGPT lawyers back in March of last year, the ones who used ChatGPT to write a brief. Of course, ChatGPT made up some wonderful cases to cite in that brief to a federal judge. That was brilliant. Clearly, they didn't read the cases since they didn't exist. There's all kinds of problems with that, but they ended up on the front page of the New York Times. That's not where anybody wants to be. And although it was a good cautionary tale, it's also a great example of the lawyer even said he thought it was like super Google. He thought it was where you go to get information, and he asked for information. It gave it the information like Google gives us information. Therefore, it was trustworthy. And it is not a retrieval of information. So the first key for everyone to understand is that you are going to interact with this technology in an entirely different way than you interact with Google. But you are trained to interact with Google. Google, who doesn't Google something every single day of their lives, right? We Google everything that we do. So it's very ingrained in us to ask questions in a certain particular way and expect an answer and think that we're done. And that is not how you want to interact with these tools. So how you communicate with it will make all the difference in your experience of the generative AI tools, things like ChatGPT, Gemini, etc., because it's all about having a conversation and talking to it like you are talking to another human being. And that means that it's not a one and done. It's not throw the ball and Fluffy goes out and the Labrador retriever and brings it back. This is more along the lines of telling Fluffy to go out and get the ball, and Fluffy goes out and pulls together a bunch of different things that are already out there in the world, turns them into a ball, and brings that back to you. And then you can tell it to get another ball or get the same ball. It's going to go out, pull together a bunch of different things, and bring them back to you. It creates something entirely new from what already exists in the world, its data set. So it's a completely different, and you can tell it, well, that's not quite the right ball. Go take that ball back and redo the ball. Go get some more of this, or I want more pink in my ball, or whatever that might be. So you have to think of generative AI as your conversation partner. It is a partner and you two are in it together. I liked this picture because it's like, you know, sitting down and having a chat with your buddy. You chat with chat, right? So its responses are only as good as your questions, or in the world of AI, as your prompts. So the first thing to understand about using it is, you know, my friend Colin Rule, who's kind of like, he's actually a techie. I'm a lawyer and a mediator at heart. I don't really have any tech degree, but he is. And he always talks about, in Silicon Valley, they talk about GIGO, garbage in, garbage out. And he's right. So if you ask a bad question, or you ask the question poorly, or you put a prompt in that doesn't give the conversation partner the right context, the right understanding of what you're looking for, then you're not going to get what you're looking for. So there's 3 basic keys to creating a really good prompt. First of all, you want to talk to AI like you would talk to a person. And I tend to be polite with it for a couple of reasons. One, if you're polite to it, it will come back and be polite to you, when I just prefer that type of interaction in my life. And I do think that because we use and interact with technology so often, if you're rude to ChatGPT, you might lose your filter on being polite with the rest of the world. So if you're just don't say please or thank you to hello ChatGPT, you might find yourself doing that to Bob next door. So I try to be very polite to it. Hello ChatGPT, I need your help. And then you set the stage and provide context. I am a law professor. I am an ombuds at Boulder. I am this, I am that. And we'll be giving I'm just using the idea of creating a presentation. And I will be giving a presentation on the role of an ombuds in this, to an audience made up of these people. So you're setting the stage, you're laying the table for it, letting it know who your target audience, who you're talking to, what it is that you're looking for. And then tell the AI, what identity or role you want it to play in this conversation that you're having. So I want you, ChatGPT, to help me create an engaging program for this audience. Let's start with some potential interesting topic ideas, right? So you're telling it in these 3 stages, you're talking to it like a person. So you're setting this conversational tone, you're setting the stage, you gave it context, and you're telling it what you want it to do and how you want it to give it to you. The other key to this is not part of the prompt, but something to keep in mind, because it's part of that conversational matter, is you need to keep the AI on track. A lot of people will get a response that isn't what they wanted and give up. It takes criticism very well. Tell it what it did wrong, tell it how it can do better, and have it redo it. It also cannot get tired. You can sit there and make it redo it 172 times, and it will just redo it 172 times without complaint, unlike your children, right? It will redo things as often as you want. So here's a sample of what a good prompt would look like. And this is not the typical prompt that I see most people putting into ChatGPT. They usually will put a very short 1 sentence. Why? Because that's how we interact with Google, right? That's how we do Google searches. We give them a 1 little sentence. Give me this, period. Find me that, period. Hi, ChatGPT. I'm working on a new project related to promoting sustainability on our university campus, and I'm looking for some fresh ideas. I'm speaking to it and setting the table. To give you more context, our campus has already implemented basic recycling programs and energy saving campaigns. We're now aiming to involve more of the community in these efforts, focusing on creative and interactive ways to promote sustainability. We want ideas that could be easily implemented and have a strong impact on both awareness and participation. We've now given it some context and understanding of what we're looking for. And I'd like you to act as my creative consultant. Please provide me with a list of 5 innovative and engaging sustainability initiatives that we could introduce on campus. Each idea should be practical and aimed at maximizing community involvement, right? Whoops, let me back up to that. So that is a full and complete prompt geared toward getting you a really good initial response. Let me just move you guys around for a minute, and I'm going to stop that share and just share quickly. Here's my ChatGPT. All right. So that prompt has already been cut and pasted in here, so I didn't waste your time. But now we'll go through and we'll see what ChatGPT can do with that.
Did we lose Susan?
We did. I think she's back now.
Okay.
See her in the meeting.
Okay, great.
So
Sorry,
hopefully it will
guys.
just be.
That's okay. Okay,
I have no
there she
idea
is.
what happened. I went flying through the internet or the ethernet. I'm back though. So let's just jump back in to Chat GPT. Hopefully this isn't going to knock us all off again. Nope. Can you still see Chat GPT here? Awesome. Thanks, Liz. All right. So I've already pre-populated. Nope, this is the wrong one. See, that's what happens when you get knocked out. Let me get a new share and go to, I think it's this one. Yes, this is that same prompt. Hi, Chat GPT. I'm working on the new project. So let's see, giving it a full and complete table laid prompt, what it can do with that. And it's going to try again. I think we may be having some issues with my connectivity. I apologize if I am. Nope. All right. And it's being polite. Now, I just want you to notice how polite it's being to me as it comes back because I was polite to it. That sounds like a fantastic initiative. Here are 5 creative and engaging sustainability initiatives that could be introduced on your campus to enhance community involvement and awareness. And then it's got sustainability challenges and competitions, interactive sustainability workshops, sustainable art installations, campus swap events, and green ambassador program. Now, this is, the very first part of that conversation. What you can do from here is continue to build on the conversation. And that's the beauty of this, is you can say, these are great. I especially like 2 and 5. Please tell me more and give me outlines for setting these programs up, right? And you can continue to build on this conversation. You can go, as you know, if you've been using it, right, it keeps track of your conversations over here, so you can come back and work on these. You can now ask it to move into, we're going to start the interactive sustainability workshops. Can you help me come up with a marketing plan or an outreach plan around this to let people on campus know that we are doing this? You can have it see so the things that it's talking about, identify workshop topics. Tell it to create those workshop topics or give me some examples. Recruit instructors. Please help me create an email to faculty, local experts, and even students who have expertise to do this outreach. You can have it carry you through each and every one of the steps of this so that the work that you would have done over a long and extended period of time can generally be done in a matter of minutes or hours, depending on how, complex your project is. So the first key to getting the most out of this type of technology would be using it. Here we go. Are we back to the slides? Just to make sure we're not having any more issues. Great. All right. So first tip. Now, the other thing, and one of the things that I probably use this for most often is busy work, because we all struggle, I think, with busy work in our day. One thing that this technology can do for us is it can make us more than 40% more efficient in our day, which basically is like getting back 40% of your time or more if you can find ways to use it. So what I always say to people is start looking around in your day at what sucks up most of your time and doesn't bring you a lot of joy, right? I don't, there are certain things I do in my day that maybe suck up my time, but they light me up. They make my life fun. I like playing on Canva and making graphics and slides like this. I'll do that all day. Don't need someone else to do it. But I hate emails. I hate the hundreds and hundreds of emails that I get every day. So I use ChatGPT pretty much every single day to take care of it. So you consider the ways that you might use it. I'm just going to use these, and all of these are examples. So another thing to keep in mind is I'm talking about quick ways to use it, not that you would use it maybe in the exact way that I'm showing you, but to get your mind working on different ways that you might use it. So for an example, imagine you receive a lot of similar inquiries from students about course prerequisites. You can use ChatGPT to automate drafting responses by creating templates and creating individual responses. And I've given you a sample prompt here. Hi, chat, being polite. I often receive emails from students asking about prerequisites for enrolling in advanced courses. Can you draft a polite and informative response that I can use as a template? Now, in this one, if I hadn't already given it the context, I'd tell it who I am in the context of sending back these emails. But let's try this again and see if we can share. I think this is here. Yes, so I've put this in here and we're just going to give it a try to see what sort of a template it might. So the system is not enjoying me. Here we go. Here's a template you can use. So it's giving us the subject, your inquiry about course prerequisites, sorry. Dear student name, thank you for reaching out regarding your interest in enrolling in our advanced courses. I appreciate your enthusiasm to advance your studies. For specific course name, the prerequisites are designed to ensure, and it's going through the entire letter and email in 60 seconds or less, but it's done it in a template fashion, right? Something that you can create once and reuse because it's left you, because you told it you wanted a template, it's left you fill in the blanks. Now from here, you could revise this if it's not what you want, absolutely should. And you can say, hey, I use Outlook for my emails. How can I save this as a reusable template? Saving your email as a template in Outlook or Gmail or whatever yours is. And now it's going to give me a step-by-step process so that I can take that template instead of having to cut and paste it from somewhere where I've saved it and actually save it as just a template. You can create folders, and it's basically told you how to do it on Windows, how to do it on Mac, and then how you would use it on Windows or on Mac. Right? So you can, what might a follow-up email to this be if the student reaches back out again? Anything that you might think of, you can create templates in your emails. You can ask it how to help you do things with what it's helping you create. All of this is that conversation. I hope you're seeing the difference here, right? Between Fido going and fetching a ball versus, great, you helped me with that. Let's talk about using that in a totally different way. You can ask it to do almost anything for you, create almost anything for you. All right, let's get back to our slides. Sorry, it's a little awkward when I do these presentations, I realize, because I am going back and forth between the two, but I think the demos always give you a little bit better understanding of what can happen rather than me just saying, try these. All right, last tip, bonus tip, subscribe. If you want this type of content coming into your inbox, if you want to know about new tools, if you want to know about new ways to use these are two online newsletters, I'll call them. I get them every day into my inbox and pretty much every day find something in them that I think is helpful and that I use. There's the Rundown AI, which is the rundown.ai. And then there's AI for Work, which is aiforwork.co. They're my personal favorites. I find them super helpful. And the one last little thing to say to you all is the more you use these technologies, I guarantee the more ways you will find to use them. They are very intuitive. It is like finding a new best friend. In fact, people are always telling me, oh, I ran that by my best friend. I ran that by my new boyfriend, Claude. I talk to people, talk to Claude a lot, but you can create a new friend here, someone who's going to make your life easier. I put my contact information down there. I love talking about, as you can tell, I just did it without taking a breath for 30 minutes. I love talking about this topic, and I'm always happy to speak to people on these things. So feel free to reach out, and I will stop my share. I think I've got a whole minute for questions.
No, that was awesome. Thank you. A round of applause.